Okay, John. Oh, big sip of that coffee.
Yeah.
Is that coffee or is it tea today? Oh my God.
I told you I think I should get a straw because I sip so close to my microphone and I don't want you to hear every
Right.
Moist thing going into my throat here. So I feel like I should invest in a straw.
Moist thing going into your throat there. That's just how we're kicking things off.
Sounds good to me.
This is On Air with... Oh, geez. This is Almost On Air with Erica and John.
I just realized that I was dancing to our intro, and when you put this on YouTube, people are going to see that.
People will 100% see that. Sometimes
Sure.
I make that known that I will dance because it will just be a bonus to you checking us out on YouTube. You can get all the behind-the-scenes action of the Almost On Air podcast.
John, we have some really serious things to talk about. And first and foremost is that we should never predict the winner of the Super Bowl again because we really, really, really got it wrong.
I mean, did you expect anything else from us, though?
No. You're forgetting that I won my fantasy football league.
That's true. I'm mostly
So-
speaking for myself here. If you're taking the last place in fantasy's opinion of who's going to win the
Right.
Super Bowl, you probably should have bet against whatever we said.
That's very true. Yeah.
I feel like true listeners and like people who truly know us would have known that not to trust us. Or would they bet with us because a good captain goes down with a ship and they're just going to follow us as deep as we fall? I don't know.
I don't think we're the... Who's the captain in that
I mean, I
analogy?
was
Are
assuming the
they the
listeners-
captain of our
Yeah.
ship
Yeah.
and we're the ship that's going down?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going for.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. We are definitely like a sinking ship at any moment of the day. Like if
I'm
one
floating.
thing... You're floating?
No, you know what we are? I feel like we're like a canoe that went upside down and is capsized. So like we're definitely not sailing right, but we're not sinking. We're floating. We got some
Okay, so
air
we're not the
underneath
people
us.
in the canoe. We're just the canoe itself.
I feel like our listeners are inside the canoe, the upside down flips canoe, which is the
So
Almost On
we
Air
just
podcast.
killed them.
No, there's air under the canoe.
Oh, that's true. You can even bring it underwater like that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's what I mean. That's kind of fun, actually. That's a canoe I'd want to be a part of.
I guess so.
Just going on of things that may not have landed during the Super Bowl is, first of all, I want to thank everyone that texted our number and we shot you out the URL to try and get some free beer during the Super Bowl.
However,
I missed it.
so did I.
Couldn't tell you when the commercial played. I don't know.
John
I
texted
tried.
me sometime in the first half and said, you said, did it air yet? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I kind of felt like you should have been the one paying attention. And then I ended up catching it, but I realized it was the Michelob Ultra commercial. It was the Michelob Ultra commercial we were supposed to do it during, right?
Yes. I feel like
Okay.
Subconsciously, I feel like I was looking for Miller Lite. But like, there's going to be no
Right.
mention of Miller Lite. You just had to know that. you know?
Right. I didn't realize it was the Michelob Ultra commercial until the end of the commercial. And so when I went to enter the code, it was like,
It was too late.
everything is retrieved.
I
And then we
mean-
had DMs from people being like, thanks so much for the beer.
Hey, I'm happy with that,
So-
though. If I could just have brought one of our listeners some free beer, that's a mission success for me.
That's all that really matters, right?
I do not feel bad about typing out that entire URL because I'm just pumped. If one person got free beer, we succeeded.
I
So
think you got more
congratulations
than
if you were
one
on it.
person free beer.
I think so, too. I saw a couple of
that's
DMs in there. So thanks
That
for taking
is-
this seriously and enjoy that free Miller Lite beer.
And pour one out for us. But don't pour it out. Just like pour it out into your mouth.
Nice. Pour it
Thank
out
you.
into your mouth.
Thanks. I was going to say throat, but here's the other thing. Throat is part of our topics of pitches.
So we have a great show coming up. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
So when we talk about pitches on our podcast, this is like one of the pillars that we founded our podcast on, right?
Right,
So-
because it's one of the pillars of really both of our jobs at On Air with Ryan.
That's exactly right. So sometimes, actually every day, we have a meeting post-show to try and discuss what we're going to talk about the next day on the Ryan Seacrest Show or what they're
Right.
going to talk about. A lot of those pitches, for whatever reason, they don't land. Either A, they're just trash and they suck, and like
Either we're
you
just
know,
pulling stuff out of our butts.
totally like a nice try that doesn't work, or
Yeah.
B, it's just inappropriate or not a good fit for a national radio show.
And it turns out,
Lucky
there's
for
this-
you guys.
yeah, that we really don't have to go by what's appropriate for a national radio
That's
show.
right.
John, how much are you on TikTok? On the daily average, how much are you on TikTok?
So I've made this known on TikTok. I'm not even on a daily average. It's maybe once every other day just to check out the scene because
Okay.
I kind of live on Instagram Reels right now, which I've recently
That's
heard
right.
is essentially like the bleed over from all the popular TikToks.
Sure, yeah. It
kind
is.
of a cheat, but I'm enjoying it.
Okay, that's all that matters.
Why do you ask?
The thing is, this topic started circulating around TikTok this week, and it is that, and I'm going to try and put this the best, most Dina, my mom listens to this podcast way possible.
Dina, plug your ears, Dina.
There is a phenomenon that
was a good word.
TikTokers, thank you,
Nice.
that TikTokers have found that dentists can tell if you have done something of the foreplay experience. So if a woman has done, or I'm sorry, I take that back, a woman or a man has done something for a man that is not full blown. Yeah, there we go. That's a word.
A phenomenon of the oral nature, some might say.
That has to do with some sexualness.
Yeah, it's essentially enjoying
not kissing.
a lollipop.
There we go. It's not kissing. And the thing is that people say that dentists can now, or not now, they've always been able to apparently, can tell if you've done that recently. So the thing was like, oh, they can tell if you've done this oral phenomenon. And I was like, yeah, but what if you haven't done that in a really long time? Is that still, can they only tell if you did it last night?
Totally.
It seems they can tell if it's been recent.
Yes. So I was looking up this TikTok, and it has like literally over 5 million plays.
Are you talking about the one where the
main
guy
one,
asks
the first
his
one
mom?
where the guy, he literally like has this in the background,
Yes.
and he says, "Just found out dentists can find out whether or not someone has given brain emoji or not."
Right.
I'm screaming.
Brain
My
emoji.
favorite part about this is like, I don't know if you can believe this. You can't believe everything you hear on TikTok.
Of course.
You know what I mean? I don't. Yes, I do. But, you don't necessarily have to. So then a bunch of dentists were coming in and they were giving their accounts on whether or
Right.
not this was true. And this was my personal favorite part of this whole phenomenon, this whole story going on, was dentist replies. Because like this was the first one that I found, and it sounded like this.
Yeah, sometimes we can tell. And it's usually bruising on the soft palate called petechiae. But unless the patient's really young or we see signs of abuse, we don't care.
I mean, when do you think that a dentist was doing the exam of someone's mouth and then thought, I wonder what that's from?
Oh,
And
easy, I
then-
got it for you right now. This is what's
Oh.
happening. You're inside a mouth, but like as a dentist, right?
Right.
I gotta be really careful with the terms here because like
Yeah,
they're very
you do.
loose, you know what I mean? So dentist is inside a mouth looking around, and if you notice some bruising on the whatever he just
Petechial?
stated,
Is that what he said?
particular something,
Sure. Something palate.
you're gonna wonder what's going on with this dude or chick. Why is there bruising on this part of your mouth? And I feel like your options are kind of limited, This
Yeah.
one's kind of hard to hear, but this was one of my favorites too. It was a response from a dentist. So just see if you can hear this, but he put it into better terms, I think.
Palatal petechia. This is what it's called. If you like, let's say, sucking on a lollipop, one or two here or there, not a big deal. But let's say you like to suck on multiple lollipops all the time. You've got a problem.
You've got a problem. And then there was this one dental hygienist lady who was also saying something similar.
To say that I'd be able to tell if you did it like 3 years ago, no. But if you did it recently and you were a little bit aggressive about it, when I do my oral cancer screening, I check everywhere in your mouth. I'm looking for anything. So yes, some individuals might have bruising to the palate, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, we know what you're saying,
Do you know what the funniest part about, and I didn't plan this, but the funniest thing about this conversation is that immediately when we are done with this podcast, I have to go to the dentist. But also, it's that's a non-problem right now.
I mean, the dentist is the only one that's really going to know for sure,
Yeah, I know, but
And here's my thing, what if you have and most people do, you have a family dentist,
for sure. When I was in again,
What's up,
my mom
Dina?
listens to this podcast. No, all I'm saying is our dentist growing up was a family friend. Like when I was 3 years old or something, I knocked my teeth out. That's the guy who came to our house and made sure I
Nice.
was okay. When I was, honestly, I think I saw him into college. But yeah.
Is this different
No
than
comment.
having a family doctor where you're going in for the physical and they got to ask you those questions like, hey, are you sexually active? Have you ever, like
Well, I don't think I saw my like pediatrician. My pediatrician was our family doctor. Again, same situation, had him since I was born. But I don't think I still saw him when I was like at that point in my life, I suppose
Growing
I should
up.
say.
where you
Right,
might
as
be
I was
having
getting older.
multiple lollipops?
Yeah, I was having no lollipops, probably. Not a lollipop, is what I'm saying.
I just feel like the things you see on TikTok, like it's just unmatched. Like where would you have ever heard this story just out and about in life? No
Nowhere
dentist
else,
is gonna
and
say
that's
that.
the beauty of no dentist is just gonna stop you and be like, hey, by the way, I heard about them lollipops.
Yeah, totally. Like I have one more TikTok to share. It was like this one dude who asked his mom because his mom was also
This
a
is
dentist.
my favorite one.
It's so good.
Dentists can tell if a girl is given like the Glock
A little
3000.
graphic.
Oh yeah.
You can?
Oh, totally.
Seriously?
Yeah.
How?
Well, there's some things we just keep secret in the profession.
But you can?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh God, yeah, I love her.
Like this kid's 13, first of all. Going to his mom right
He
after
might
he
be
sees
like
his TikTok.
16,
I mean, yeah. I can't really tell. But
but
like,
yeah.
amazing.
Also, that's great parenting. If your kid is totally comfortable to ask you that, brilliant.
Yeah, you should be comfortable giving answers,
I think so. Another little TikTok thing that is part of my pitches today is that TikTok Gen Zers are canceling a lot of things. And we've I don't know if we've talked about it on here, but we've talked about it on the radio show. They're canceling like skinny jeans and like side parts, which by the way, I have a side part today. So F off, Gen Z.
nice.
They are also deeply offended and like don't believe in being over the age of 25.
I mean, neither do I, to be honest.
They literally
blame 'em.
saw a TikTok last night that was like, are people over the age of 25 okay? And I was like, I mean, no.
No, definitely not.
But that's not our fault.
Honestly, I'm kind of with them. So 2 things here, because I honestly don't know anything about this story.
Okay.
One, I feel bad generalizing all Gen Zers because I do
Sure.
hate when people are like, millennials think this, because 90% of those headlines, I'm like, I don't think that. You know what I mean?
Okay, but like what? Because millennials, what? You think millennials can't buy a
Everyone
home
was
because
saying
of avocado
millennials
toast?
are social media obsessed. Okay, maybe. And they're like,
You
they
literally just
want
admitted
everything.
to loving reels.
Yeah, dude, that's true. It's true. But they're like, millennials want everything handed to them. They don't know how to work for things. And I think we do, but it's in different ways.
Yeah, I
We've
think it
grown
looks
up with
different.
different technologies around us, and it has made us have to adapt and work in different ways. So I
Right.
used to get like very offended when people would generalize millennials. So I
Okay.
don't want to make the mistake of generalizing Gen Zers. However, I would like you to tell me some of these things that some of these Gen Zers are trying to cancel, because I'm kind of pissed about some of them.
Okay, so they don't think that people should wear skinny jeans anymore, which skinny jeans just are a look, okay? Like
They
I
are a
wear
look.
them all the time. I also am currently wearing a pair of non-skinny jeans, so maybe I can be in with the kids. They also don't think that they say that if you have a side part, that proves that you're old, and that everyone should have center parts.
Okay, I mean, maybe.
But like dudes don't even have parts really.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like these are maybe women focused.
Sure.
For the most
The
part.
other
Although I do
thing-
love a good dude skinny jean.
Right. Nothing's wrong with the dude. I actually think that dudes in skinny jeans is better than
I
dudes in
agree.
like baggy jeans. Like, do they want to go back to those? What was that brand called?
Crew? Wait, no, you're talking about baggy ones.
Yeah, like baggy with like the
parachute-ish?
graffiti
I
on
like that's what
them.
people wear in like raves, like old
True
school rave videos.
not True Religions.
Wait, those were a
I-
thing.
I don't remember what these were called, but Von Dutch maybe. Anyway, okay.
You're just making up words.
Totally.
I don't know. I don't know what
John,
you're
here's
saying.
my question for you. What emoji would you use if you were laughing so hard you had tears coming out of your eyes?
There's literally an emoji laughing with tears coming out of its eyes.
Where it's smiling and the tears are coming out the sides?
Yeah, it looks like this.
That does look like that. That was very good.
Thank you.
That's no longer the emoji for laughing crying. Now it's just the full stream sobbing emoji. That's supposed to say I'm laughing so hard.
Oh, no, it isn't. No,
that
it is
means
not.
I'm sobbing.
Okay, I've seen some people use this, and especially on Twitter sometimes too. People will say something is funny, and then they use the actual crying emoji. Like the one where it's
Apparently-
tears coming down your
Yes.
eyes, not shooting out the sides.
Right,
at a
not out the
45
sides,
degree
but like
angle.
the waterfalls coming down.
Yeah, see, the waterfall's a cry.
It looks like this.
I get it. Like, I get it's so funny that you're like genuinely crying, but I feel like you get into dangerous territory when you start using the actual crying emoji for funny things.
And what territory is that?
If you start using the crying emoji for funny things, it just broadens up the range here. For example,
That's true.
if you're always using the crying emoji, the actual tears waterfall one, if you're actually using that to laugh all the time, and then you're texting
What are you
someone
using
new,
for crying?
That's what I mean. You're texting someone new and you're like, oh my gosh, had to put my cat down today. It got ran over with the actual crying one. If I don't know you that well, that could be interpreted as somewhat comical. It's sad, but like maybe you didn't have an attachment to the cat. Like it got ran over. That's like kind of
Never
funny.
in a million years is a cat getting hit by a car gonna be the crying, laughing emoji.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad example.
Yeah, it was
but
not
like,
your
what if
best.
it died in a funny way where it could be funny? You know what I mean?
Or like, oh man, I got in a car accident today. I'm fine though.
Yes. You don't know if that person's traumatized or if he's
Right.
like, oh, this is funny. I'm laughing about it now. You can't decide.
You can't decide.
And emojis matter. Yeah, I still have a problem if I'm actually trying to send something emotional. I feel like I
Okay.
still have a problem using any emojis for that whatsoever. Like if I'm putting, it's just been a rough day, I'm not going to put it's been a rough day and then use that yellow sad emoji. Like it's just like I don't know, it just brings me up somehow. Like it's like a
So do you
fake
do like the
sadness.
colon parentheses?
Yes. The
Mm.
colon sideways slash where it's like, just like
Oh.
you got
Oh,
the
but what
sideways
about
face. It's like kind of sad. You're like, oh man. Kinda
what
had a rough
about
day
the
today.
like emoji that's just kind of like, you know that one?
I mean, let's just pretend I was listening to this podcast without looking at video. Would you like to put that into words, perhaps? Just perhaps.
I forgot that this is a podcast.
I do
It's
want
got
to see
like
the face one more time, though.
it's got like slanty eyes,
Wait.
sad,
Is this one of the yellow ones?
and what
didn't know if you were-
faces aren't yellow?
I thought you were talking about one of the colon ones again.
No,
Yes.
no.
I think that's the saddest one, where it's like a complete.
Where it's like you
sadness
can
in the
just
face.
tell there's void of any joy in that emoji.
I think you're right. That might actually be hot take here. The saddest emoji.
Hot take, did we just discover the saddest emoji?
I think that's the saddest emoji.
I mean, the one where it's like this, which again, this is a podcast, where it's
I know exactly
crying
what
with
you're
an
talking about,
open mouth. That one's
Yeah.
pretty sad. But
that
it's,
one's like a whining. Like
it's also like, this is aggravating sad versus like, I'm deeply just
Ooh.
depressed.
I feel that. It's like it's been such a long day at work.
Dude,
Nailed it.
this week
I
is that
nailed
emoji for me.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude. Totally.
Wow. Okay, but also don't you think, you know how you were saying like the colon parentheses, open parentheses would be sad. So the colon close parentheses, the little smiley face, that feels more flirty to me than emojis.
I'm so with you. With you. People
yeah.
give me crap sometimes because I still use the colon smiley face. Like to me, that's
Oh.
my favorite smiley face emoji.
I probably send the colon smiley face 5 times a week.
I mean, once a day.
I just winked and I don't know why.
You're retired on weekends. That's all good.
No. I probably use it more on weekends.
Do you use emojis a lot in text?
Yeah, I'm a pretty emoji texter.
I feel like as time goes on, I'm using more emojis because I think the only way to break the seriousness of text before was just to keep adding ha-has or LOLs, even when
And
it's not
now
funny.
you just throw an
Like,
emoji.
had a great day, haha. You know, like it's not funny, but like you're just doing it to lighten the mood a little bit.
And when would you ever say had a great day? Haha.
I mean, I feel like it's just like in the middle of a conversation thing. Like, oh, I woke up and then had a great day and I made some eggs.
Haha.
Ha 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 ha. It just lightens up the mood a little bit.
I guess so, yeah. But no, you're
But-
right. Emojis like loosen up that like, are they a robot? Are they mad at me? Because like if there's an emoji, they're not mad at you.
That's true. I've never been mad with an emoji. Even the mad emoji doesn't make me actually mad.
I wonder if I have been mad with an emoji. I don't know. I don't remember the last time I was really mad on
I feel like
text.
if I'm fake mad, I'll use an emoji. But if I'm real mad,
Yeah.
no emojis.
If
It's
you're
just
fake
caps.
mad, you're like red face, red face, red face.
I love the red face.
Yeah. I also like the smiling devil.
Okay.
Because that's like, oh, you want a drink tonight?
that's my mischievous one. That's like the ones where you got to
Exactly.
put your hands together and you're like,
Yeah, it's like texting your friends being like, how drunk are we getting? Smiling devil face.
smiling devil face.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's a good time when the smiling devil comes out.
For sure. I think, yeah, this week, my sister actually finally announced that she's pregnant, and I've been holding that in
Good for her. Wait
for a
minute.
long time. Wait, had I not
What's
told
up?
you
This is
this?
breaking news. No.
I didn't even tell you?
No.
Dude, I've known since early November.
Wow.
Yeah, but I use the smiling
so you
devil
can
face.
keep secrets.
I can, yeah.
So you might have a live-in boyfriend.
Oh my God, I do not have a live-in boyfriend.
I'm just trying to connect the
no.
dots here.
I do not have that. Thank you, though.
You're
But I use the smiling devil face a lot when I talk about like being a fun aunt, or like
Okay.
I got the baby some like shoes that were fun, and so I like sent the smiling devil face with them. I don't know.
Okay. I don't love the fun shoes devil face because to me that's not getting into anything like
That's
mischievous.
not it. But like, you know, when I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be the fun aunt. Although me and my other sister will totally both be the
fun
fun
aunt's like gonna be
but-
the aunt that like takes the baby out. You know, I mean, not like takes it out, but like talks
Right.
about the girl stuff with the baby and the hooking up
Right.
with dudes and the TikTok trends and
talking
know?
about
Yeah.
the oral phenomenon with the baby.
I love that.
Smiling devil face.
So let's get into some other phenomenon here. Let's get into our main topic of the day.
Ooh, yes.
So it's time to dive into another main topic, and I feel like this is fittingly the next place for our podcast to go. You know, we
Yes.
covered last week where we view ourselves in our personal and professional lives. So I
Right.
think it's time to start this week with like the start of a relationship, first dates.
So like if you're new here, it's the start of your relationship with us. And this is probably a terrible first date.
I mean, I think any date
But-
with us is a pretty good first date. But I think as we'll get into in a minute, it's not necessarily all about the first date. You know, it's about just
It's
wanting
about a lot more.
It's about a lot
Yeah.
more. Exactly.
So John,
I like this-
you what? Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say I like this topic because all our listeners are pretty much 50-50 single or in a relationship. And I feel like for the singles, this is obviously going to apply to you a little bit more directly, but for the people in a relationship, this is interesting to me because you've had a successful first date. You know, like you've been
Yes.
through this.
Yeah,
and
what's
I'm
that
curious
like?
to know how that first date progresses into a relationship because as we'll see soon, you don't really know always in the beginning, you know?
No. What I was gonna say is you are a little more recent to first dates than I am. Right?
Facts.
Like my last no, that wasn't gonna make any sense. Don't worry about that. Like you've been on more first dates more recently is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. I will give that fair.
And like how do you feel generally about them?
My general, and this is kind of the way I've always felt since I started dating, whatever age that was.
Okay.
I love first dates. I do.
Yeah.
I love them. And a lot of people don't because they think it's awkward. And like, although it can be, first dates are fun to me because I feel as if I'm a very social person. And I do enjoy getting to know people and who
Yeah.
they are and what makes them happy and what makes them sad. And even if that's not necessarily on a romantic level, I do enjoy meeting new people as it goes. So even if I don't find a connection with someone, I really do enjoy meeting someone new. Like that is a win for me.
The hard thing about first dates, because I agree with you, I actually think that's a way that you and I are similar, is that we actually enjoy getting to know people and we're very outgoing. And that's not like, sometimes I'm like, this could be awkward or I could get murdered, but
You
that's
could.
a whole
I
other
mean,
thing.
I mean, it's possible.
But the hard thing is, so if you have like a great first date or second date, or you just really get along with someone, but then you decide you don't want to date them, is that then you have to just cut them out. Like
It's
then
like-
it's hard to transition into friends if you went on a date.
I feel that, but
Yeah.
I think it's easier to transition into friends than it is if you had dated them for a while.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not really
So,
a friends after dating
Let's
person.
just start as much of a square one as we can start when it comes to first dates.
Okay.
How long do you think you need to be talking to someone before you go out on a first date?
I think it depends on if this is someone you met online or in person.
That is a good point. So,
If
I
it's
mean,
in person, right away.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's online, how much conversation would you prefer to have with a guy before you felt comfortable going on a first date?
It's usually like at least a week, and
Okay.
of like regular contact. What about
Oh,
you?
At least a week. I feel like I don't want to say necessarily as a guy, but as a guy, I feel like I'm less concerned about safety.
Yes.
So to me, it almost feels like the quicker the better because then it's
Mm-hmm.
less time wasted wondering whether or not you're even going to have chemistry with someone. You know what I mean?
I think that adds up because I feel like a lot of guys, when I was on dating apps, I haven't been in like a year, but when I was, it felt like people were a lot quicker to be like, well, let's go out, whatever. And I was like, well, we just started talking. But hearing it from your mindset makes sense.
Yeah, because if you're talking for a week, and it's really not hard to hold conversation over text, but you could meet
Sure.
up with them, not have a spark, and then you've spent 2 weeks texting someone that
Yeah.
you knew in 2 seconds whether or not you wanted to date or whether or not you had
Do-
any interest at all.
Do you always know that fast though?
I don't know if I know immediately that I want to date you, but I think I will know immediately if I don't want to date you.
Okay.
Does
so
that make sense?
you'll know immediately if it's a definite no. And then it takes some time for you to decide, like, is this more than just basic chemistry? Is it worth a
Right.
relationship?
And
Great.
when we go into what you do on a first date, this will kind of, well, we'll get there in a minute, but for me, that's exactly how it feels. And I think I'm lucky that I've not had to commit to a first date and had to walk up and been like, oh my God, I don't like this person. Because I think it's possible. I think especially with meeting someone online, you don't necessarily know what they're going to be like in person, and maybe they're not your type, like at all in person. You know, maybe they act weird, and I feel like sometimes you can pick up on some of those huge red flags right away.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh my gosh, I don't like this person, like at all. And I think I'm lucky to not have to have done that, because I've talked to girls who have met a guy on a dating app, gone out to a dinner, and then had to commit to a full dinner knowing in the first 5 seconds that they're like, wow, this is not what I pictured him to be.
I've only, I think, been on one first date where I was like, it's definitely not going beyond this, but we only had drinks because, which we'll get to more later, my feelings on food on dates.
Right.
We had drinks and he just talked about himself the whole time. And I was like, well, and I hugged him goodbye.
And there it was.
And said,
and what do you think he's doing right now at this very moment?
Literally, I don't have a clue. Have not spoken. He tried to text me after the date, and I kind of was just like, I just don't, I'm pretty busy. Haven't spoken to him.
Yeah, it happens.
So I don't know.
So let's go back a little bit. I want to ask some previous working up to the first date questions. All
okay.
right? I think these days it is more rare to pick a girl up for a first date because you don't know somebody. I think that's scary, but I feel
more
like,
rare. Sorry. I thought you were saying common. Yes. I agree.
Because I talked to some older people, and they were, every single time I talked to my mom or someone like that, she's always like, are you going to pick her up?
And it's like, no, they don't want that.
Yes. Not anymore,
Right. I don't know the last time I was picked up for a first date. And when I say that, I mean, I think never.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
Okay. So you're getting ready for a first date. What is your first date prep? What are you doing?
I shower and shave my whole body, not because they're going to see any, yes, they're going to have no access. In fact, very rarely is there any access.
Right. But it makes
what
you
a
feel
statement.
better.
But it makes you feel good. And then,
Totally.
I take my time doing my hair and makeup, and I always chug a glass of wine before.
So as a guy wondering, how soon before the date should I assume you're already getting ready?
1 hour.
1 hour. Okay. That's the same for guys, but I feel like maybe we have
maybe
more
an
lag
hour
time.
15.
Okay.
Because I want to be ready in time to have a glass of wine before I go.
Okay. So you're a glass of wine before the date person.
Yeah, I just said that. I said chug.
Okay. Hey.
A good glass too.
Zero judgment here.
Yeah.
Zero judgment.
Yeah. What about, do you drink at all before a date, or what's your?
I have, but I don't anymore. I
Okay.
think maybe when I was younger, that was something that I felt like I needed to get over. But I feel like these days, I would much rather prefer to have a coffee before. So my mind's just awake and I'm ready to go.
That would just send me into an anxiety overdrive. So that's hilarious.
Oh no, I think I'm my best self. I could be wrong. I could be my most annoying self. But to me,
Even
I feel
if-
best after a cup of coffee or a nice iced coffee, I'd say.
Even if you're gonna, so if your drink is if your date is drinks, you're still
Yes.
gonna drink a coffee before.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. I wasn't
think
sure
I'm
if that
so-
meant you'd drink a beer before.
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm so good on coffee that I'm so used to it, I guess I should say, that it's not a big deal. And
Okay.
I think beer is a little dangerous. You get a little bloated, beer breath, whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. I just would rather show up just on, I don't know. Beer just smells
Sharp.
gross to me, and I feel like it may not be a good first impression,
That's
if you can pick
true.
up on those smells. So for me, it's got to make sure you got a pack of gum, got to make sure you got some chapstick to go, just in case,
Sure.
just for the feels,
Also, you're saying beer smells bad? Coffee smells way worse.
What?
Coffee breath?
What?
Coffee
Are you
breath
kidding?
is gross.
You would rather make out with beer breath than coffee breath.
Yeah, because I probably have beer breath too if I'm making out with beer breath.
Oh my God, I literally thought this was a well-known thing that coffee breath would be way better than beer breath. I enjoy coffee breath. Wow.
Agree to disagree here.
This is amazing. This is a shocker to me. I didn't even see this being an issue. Wow.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know. Okay. Yeah, you got your favorite, you got a nice shirt that you're going to wear out maybe,
Right.
One you've been
Do you
waiting
wear
to wear out for
cologne on a
while.
first date?
I have gone through phases.
Okay.
I recently bought a cologne, so I'm starting to use it again, but I feel like usually I don't. I feel like sometimes a neutral smell is better than a bad cologne smell.
Do you agree with that? Or do you think that is the same from a girl? If a girl walks up with perfume, would you rather she didn't?
I don't think I have a preference at all.
You
I
probably
don't know
haven't
if
really
I've ever,
noticed.
smelt, and I also feel like it's easier to nail a girl's perfume smell than it is to nail a guy's cologne smell.
I'm
I feel like
very interested in men smelling well.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be. It should be.
Right.
Do you stalk the person and how much, to what extent?
So much. If their social media is accessible to me, I have seen not all of it, but a lot of it.
Really?
What about you? Yeah.
So I like to do, I mean, obviously if they have an Instagram, a quick Instagram check, but sometimes that's difficult to find. This is going to be a hot take here. My favorite thing to stalk is someone's Spotify. I usually try to find them off the bat on Spotify.
That's good.
They're less, they're like easier to find sometimes.
Well, because it's connected to Facebook a lot.
Totally. And it says a lot. It'll say your recently played artists. I can kind of see what music you're into. I can kind of see sometimes some of your playlists and that kind of stuff. So I do love trying to get a feel for what music taste you're into because that kind of tells me a little bit about you.
That's a really good life hack. And also, if you were able to look like right before you see them, you'd see what they listen to getting ready.
And I think that's the most accurate thing about Spotify is the recently played artists, which is sometimes a downfall because sometimes I'm in a mood where I'm like listening to some weird shit, you know? Like,
yes,
like
I
some,
get
like,
that.
Yeah, like classic piano or like some old jazz song that I used to play in jazz band in like 2010, you know? So it can be a negative sometimes, but I do enjoy still seeing it nonetheless.
Wow. Have you ever stalked me on Spotify?
At some point for sure.
Wow. Weird. I wonder what you found.
Don't remember.
What's after stalking? What's your next question?
How nervous are you usually going into a first date?
Super.
Nice.
You know what though? I don't. My last like first date that I've been on was a very different. It was not a normal first date, and so I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've been on a first date other than that. This is all sounding confusing.
Yeah, it kind of is. I'm just going to glaze over it for a minute. What is your first date pump up? Do you have like a artist you usually go to? Is it Taylor Swift?
No, I don't think it is Taylor Swift. It's more like probably like Maren Morris.
Ooh.
Like chill music because I don't need things that are going to make me too amped.
Okay.
I'm too excited already. Like I get like excited and like you know,
overwhelming.
So I need like chill music. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
For me, it's like cheesy as it sounds. The band Camino. I feel like
that would be a great one.
It's like just enough high energy to keep you awake, but it's like not raging. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So,
how nervous are you before a first date?
Usually not at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I'm comfortable with myself being able to carry a conversation. So I am pretty confident that even if the date doesn't go super well, at least I will have known and it's not going to be a wasted time.
I just want to adopt that. I think I'm often, if it's online dating, I'm afraid of getting killed. So
I think that was kind of one of my questions too, is like, how serious is that?
I don't know if it's serious, or if it's like maybe the bigger fear is just that he's going to be really strange and you're going to be uncomfortable.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
I think I worry more about being uncomfortable than like actual death, because it's not like I just like go to these people's homes. Like I definitely always meet in public.
Right.
And I haven't had to do that in COVID, thank God, because I feel like that'd be hard.
But a weird person can make you feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, even
whether
just
it's looking at you funny or a wrong comment
or like making
like
weird like sex jokes or that kind of thing.
Totally.
So I think that's what makes me more nervous.
And that's good. Going into, like even sex jokes a little bit, I feel like a question that I like to ask a lot is, do you kiss on a first date?
I am a yes. If I like them even a little bit, I think it's worth the try.
Really?
Yeah. Did you not expect that from me?
No, I'm usually a no.
Well, no, you should have expected this from me then. We never agree.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Why not?
So, in my opinion, and we'll go through some of the answers here because we did a poll, and even though it was just a poll, some people DM'd us specifically reasons for it.
Yes.
So I wrote down some of those because I think it's very interesting. For me, my answer is usually no, because I'm good with anything. Like I'm not against it. I'm not against going basically any distance on a first date. That doesn't necessarily.
So if she leans in, you're not gonna be like, oh, I don't ever kiss on the first date.
I just feel like it is difficult to assume someone is down for a kiss on the first date, and usually as a guy, I feel like the pressure is almost on you to initiate it most times.
Yes, agreed.
And I never want to make someone feel uncomfortable, and I never want to rush into something. And I think that eventually, if you have a second date, you're going to kiss anyway. So I'd rather not even think about the pressure. I don't want to be on the date thinking like, when's the right time to kiss? I don't want that pressure there. I want you to know that if you're coming on a date with me, we're getting to know each other. If the kiss happens, great. But I'm not looking for a chance to make it happen on the first date.
Okay.
I just
I
feel like
think
it's less of that pressure because you never know what someone's comfortable with. And I feel like
Totally.
some girls aren't, you know?
I feel like they make it known though.
How?
Like I'm
Is
gonna
there a name
linger.
tag that says I kiss on the first date?
Yeah, that's not what you were on your first dates. That's weird.
Yeah, I guess.
No, I certainly linger at the goodbye if I'm interested. Otherwise, it's a hug and run.
So what does a linger at the goodbye look
So,
like?
again, my very complicated explanation of first dates. The last 3 first dates that I know I kissed on, they all drove me home.
Okay.
So you just like linger in the car. I don't know. You like hug goodbye across the center console and then you pull back only a little. And if they don't
So-
go for it, then you keep going.
Okay. So you linger after the hug. That's the girl move because I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
a hug and linger.
I also, as a guy, look for a girl's cue for that. You know, I'm not going to lean in the entire way.
Yeah.
I feel like I want a cue to know it's okay. I'm not going to like force a kiss, you know?
Well, yeah, and don't force it. That's weird. But you got to look
agree.
for the cue. But it sounds like you aren't even looking for the cue because you're trying to remind her that it's okay.
Maybe. This might
Yeah.
be a thing.
I think you're not looking for the cues.
So when we took this poll, 91% of everyone said if it feels right, they kiss on a first date.
For
and
sure.
9% was a no, never. And I feel like this is a little bit misleading because I feel like if it feels right, I mean, I guess that means you could be down if you're having a good time, but
Like, are you more, you lean more towards no, never than if it feels right?
I think I like to personally get myself in the mindset of no, never.
Yes.
That way I'm not expecting it because I want it to just happen naturally.
I think I go into it expecting it.
Really?
And then if I'm like, I'm not feeling this, I kind of pull back from the situation,
Wow.
literally and physically.
Okay, that's fair.
So you said that some people said specific things about this or no?
I did. I don't know where the comment went. There was one that specifically wrote in, and now I cannot seem to find
He
it.
lied. So,
So I maybe lied.
then I asked, because this is such a big thing for me personally, I asked people if they eat on the first date. And, I think some people responded and said, like, is this in COVID times, right? Didn't we have a
Right,
couple
right.
questions about that? And I'm like, well, let's say non-COVID times.
Right.
75% of and I said sit down dinner, sit down meal where
Like
you have
having
to
a
order.
meal, like-
Like it's not like you're like, oh, let's pick up pizza and walk around somewhere.
Right.
75% of people were down.
Yeah, that's.
I
the
definitely
shocker to
got
me.
my math wrong here. It was 73% because 27 said no way. I'm
That's
shocked.
I mean, still, that's a shocker to me because I was 100% on the no way.
I'm a no way too.
Yes, I'm
It's
personally so against
especially with
this.
online dating. I think that if this was a first date, and I've done this, a first date with someone I knew before, I'd totally sit down and have a meal with them. That's fine.
Okay.
Do you feel the same?
I mean, I 100% feel the same. And this was one of the comments
Okay.
we got. Someone said, especially if I met someone on a dating app, if you immediately don't like them, you're stuck with them. And that's some serious commitment for an entire dinner. Like, do we even vibe, she says. And I think that's
Yeah.
true. I mean, that kind of goes into like the vibe check we were talking about. And I don't think, I mean, going back on it, I've already changed my mind. I don't think the vibe check is always necessary. But I do think it is a good way if you don't know someone to just meet someone real quick online, have a quick drink, a cup of coffee, not a full meal, to find out whether or not you
Yeah.
vibe to go on the next date.
I agree. That's almost all my first dates have just been a drink,
Totally. Someone else
which
commented in,
usually
they
leads to
said-
2 or 3 drinks. But
Exactly. They said same exact thing. Yes, I do a dinner in real life, but if not, I only want a 20-minute coffee or drink. Or
20 minutes, that's a little
20 minutes.
intense.
That's a little soon.
I usually give myself at least an hour and a half.
Okay, I like that.
Warm up.
I'm a 1 to 2 hour person.
Yeah.
I'm like not against. No, I'm against eating. I just like
Yeah.
it feels weird.
Although, a first date's pretty good if you end up ordering food. Like if you're sitting there and then you're like, should we eat?
Also, I mean, let's just assume the first date's going super well. You're getting drinks, and like that. You just don't want to leave. You have a couple of drinks, and if you don't have food in you, like
Things are going to get sloppy.
things get a little sloppy, which is like kind of fun, maybe. You know.
Who knows? Or it leads to bad decisions. We also asked you guys your ideal first date. Before we get into this, John, what is your ideal first date?
So my ideal first date is something that involves an activity that we can do together. There's not something specific I'd like to do.
So
But
like
I think
bowling?
my first date, bowling's great. I
Like
wouldn't
in
mind bowling.
non-COVID?
Yeah, in non-COVID. But I want something to be able to have a lot of conversation. So obviously not a movie or anything like that.
Right. No, that doesn't work.
But I think something where you can at least have an activity where it takes the pressure off just back and forth talking.
Yeah.
Even if it's a walk, even if it's a walk or a hike or somewhere that you're going or some activity to do. That way there's other things going on than you sitting in front of someone talking, which can work. I'm not saying it's always bad, but this would just be my personal preference.
I'm just laughing because my ideal date is totally just drinks and talking.
Okay.
Like just yeah.
And here's the thing, dude. I'm not against drinks and talking. I've had great drinks and talking dates. I'm
Right.
just saying my ideal personal preference number one date, if I could plan one, is going to be like doing something a little bit more unique, I think is what I'm looking for.
That's true. I never planned them. So
drinks
if
and
someone
talking's fun.
suggested like not bowling is kind of like a long commitment, but something like an activity, I'd probably be down. Hiking, again, the murder thing. It's a little sketchy.
I mean, I guess. I just feel like drinks and talking's a 9 out of 10. Like it's a 9 out of 10. It's great.
Sure.
That's like
you're looking for the
sure,
10 out of 10.
It's the go-to, but anything else above that would be a 10 out of 10. Both great. I'll take a 9 on my test.
A lot of people agreed with you, like a picnic on the beach, which is and then hopefully with a dog. Your sister said dog beach.
Yeah.
We had people say like a hike, a pumpkin patch, going to the boardwalk, something not forced to stare at each other, mini golf, activity you can do together. So people are with you here.
Right.
But then there's also dinner and drinks or just drinks and apps, happy hour, dinner and drinks at the bar top of a restaurant, watching a game. That's a good one. When there's like a basketball game on that you can pretend to be interested in, but you're not actually interested in.
Is this the thing girls do? Do they pretend to be interested in sports if they're not?
No, I don't know, because I am. So I can happily watch a game and have interest in it to give us a break from staring at each other and speaking.
Got it. Okay.
But it's a good like buffer. If you guys don't know what to talk about, you can like start with the game.
I also think a drink sometimes takes, even just one drink takes all of the edge off.
All of it. This is why I chug wine.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because then the talking is just so much easier after one drink. You're like less pressured. You can kind of be a little bit more yourself. And I think on a first date, you shouldn't hold back. You should be yourself to find out whether or not that vibes with someone.
Totally.
My
favorite. What? Wait. What was yours? No, you go.
Okay. Was it the very last one? I loved it. It was so to the point, and I know exactly what I want. This is a date. I love it. It's so funny. Go ahead.
It is drinks, period. No food, period. No longer than 2 hours, period. Excuse to leave before I even get there.
Like,
because
so
then if it goes
familiar.
great, you throw your rules out the window. But if it goes poorly, you have a way out.
Yeah, totally. I loved it. That was my favorite answer. Just like straight to the point. This is what I want. This is what my date's going to be. And if it's anything else, like we'll figure it out.
True that.
Also, a funny one I thought too, someone said, my ideal date is on April 25th because it's not too hot or too cold. Perfect weather.
Have you seen Miss Congeniality?
Oh, no. Is that what that's from?
It's from an excellent film with Sandra Bullock.
I mean, I've seen the movie. I just don't remember that quote.
Oh, yeah. It's the girl from Rhode
film.
Island.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
FBI agent. Nice. Okay.
Okay, and then we got into this, which we kind of touched on, but if you're in a relationship now, did you know that you wanted to date that person from the first date, or did it take time? And this was pretty close to half and half. 43% only knew immediately. And 57 said it took a minute.
This surprised me even more because I would argue this wasn't close to half and half. Like a 57% is like a 60%. It took a minute, which is not what I was thinking would be.
You were
the
expecting
answer.
it'd be maybe 60 the other way.
Yes, I feel like people have expectations for a first date, and I'm guilty of this a lot. You have this expectation of a first date to kind of be like almost swept off your feet. You want to know immediately, like, this was an amazing date. I want to date this person. Let's keep jumping in. But the reality of the situation is that's usually not the case.
No. There has to be like some in between period. I don't know the last. I don't know if I've ever felt that way.
Really?
The immediate, well.
Oh, you need some better first dates, dude.
I mean, I think I have felt that way. Yes, once. That's all. I'm so uncomfortable. Like, I have a really hard time. Wait. Here's my other question.
Okay.
What if you already knew the person before and then you had a first date with them?
I mean, ideally, you could still have that spark at the first date when you're like trying to give the romantic side a try. But I think it's interesting because I've had first dates where immediately off the bat, you're into it. And you're like, this is great. This exceeded my expectations by far. But then sometimes there was someone you just got to know a little bit, and you were just, I think the goal of a first date is to be curious enough to want a second.
Yeah.
And once you go on that second date and you get to know them, sometimes you like that person more than the initial spark of a great first date. So I don't think it necessarily matters, but I think a lot of people off the top of their head or like just off, instinct think that the first date needs to be amazing, but it doesn't. I think sometimes getting to know a person can be just as good.
Yeah. There's also, I really believe in trying to give everyone a second date. Unless it's just not there. Like,
right.
If it's just not there, it's not there. But I have done that, and it led to a full-blown relationship. And I'm not sure that it was ever one that I should have been in.
Right. And so these were a lot of the comments we were getting too. So this one person said, it was supposed to be just something fun. It was not supposed to be what ended up to be my husband. And now we've been married 12 years. We didn't even date long. We married in less than a year. And I basically married a stranger. But it's been 12 years now. I love him. And I think you can learn to love someone deeply. Like, that's so cool to me.
Okay, that's my favorite story ever.
It's amazing.
But I don't know. I almost feel like sometimes if you spend too much time with someone, so if you're like, oh, I'm going to give everyone 3 dates, you're going to end up caring for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's hard to be like, wait, do I like them? Maybe this is just my brain.
I mean, that's possible, but I still think that, yes, you can like them, but I think it takes a mature person to know that we've been talking for a couple months and I like them, but it's not the person I want to end up with. And I think that's okay. You just have to make that decision sometimes. That I like them, of course. It's easy to like people, but to know that that's not your person, like sometimes you got to be that adult and make that choice. And
you think that it also could go the other way. If we've been talking for a couple months and I realize it's time to take this
to the next step.
It comes at that crossroads, I guess.
Sometimes I think it takes time, to peel back the layers and know who someone truly is. And sometimes it just takes time. Like you're on your best behavior. You're just not going to know on a
first date. It's so true. Yeah. You're on your just absolute finest moment on your first date.
There was another comment that someone said, I knew there was great potential on the first date, but we talked for 10 months and now we're finally dating. So like that just goes to show it,
That brings me joy.
Is a decent amount of time to make sure you really know someone. And then you're like, yeah, like I really want to date this person now. And I think that's awesome.
Decent is it's a long time. You know for sure after that amount of time, like, yeah, I really like them.
That's probably true. And sometimes there are other circumstances. Like there was another comment. This person said, it takes a while. She didn't want a relationship at first because unbeknownst to me, she had just ended her last relationship weeks prior to me meeting her. So I didn't know that she needed time to date someone.
That's interesting. I've been in that situation where you're like, oh, I need to back off and give you the space if it's ever going to work.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get that. Like if I was trying to be serious about someone now, I think I would still need more time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, just to be in a place to be in a serious relationship again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think sometimes you got to know that. And I mean, that guy's dating this girl now. So like it ended up working out.
Okay. I read that message and I wasn't sure if it was that.
I actually just assumed. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Yeah. This actually leads to the red flags because some people are saying people who talk about their exes specifically in a bad way is a huge red flag, which I agree with. If a guy calls his ex crazy on a first date, I'm probably going to remove myself from the situation.
100%.
But then also one of them says if they're just out of a breakup.
Yeah. I mean, that's understandable.
I don't know if it's a fair red flag to be like, red flag, I cannot date them. But it's fair to be like, I got to like monitor my own feelings.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I also think the ex question is a good one too, because I don't think any negative talk about an ex is a good idea. But I do enjoy sometimes hearing about your past relationships. Like even on a first date, I'll be like, how many serious relationships have you been in? And I mean, if you don't mind just being brief, like what happened? Like it's good to know sometimes. Like I think it tells a story about you, about maybe what your fears might be or what you're looking for, or someone that you found in the past that wasn't a good match for whatever reason. And maybe you're the same.
Do you have pause with people if they're really upfront? Because I definitely have been like, oh yeah, I got cheated on. Period. Move on. And I feel like, is that frightening to people? Okay. Well.
No, if that's the truth, no. And I think that's something you need to know about someone. I mean,
I would say I also think that's super important if you're trying to get into a relationship with someone to understand what they've been through.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, because that says something about the needs, at least moving forward for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing if you're like crying at the table, you know.
Could you imagine? Well, no, that was another red flag. Someone said crying.
Yeah, which is so interesting to me. Like, have you been on a date with someone who cried on your first date? That's amazing.
Yeah, I want to hear more actually.
Yeah.
Someone also said orders milk to drink at dinner, and I was wondering if that's a direct jab at you.
No, it's not at all. I have no idea what that's about. Apparently, that's just a red flag. I mean,
yeah,
milk at dinner would be an interesting choice.
It would be. Not offering to pay for anything.
Okay.
Do you have thoughts on that?
I feel like
the first date is tricky. Maybe come the second. Yeah.
Like maybe an offer is good, but like the dude's pretty much gonna take care of it, you know?
Probably.
Most of the time. I mean, I don't want to assume.
I feel like us girls know we should always do the reach for the wallet. Let him say, no, I got this.
That's fair.
Yeah. My sister wrote vocal Trump supporter, which I will admit probably a red flag for me. But I also think generally extremely different views on that is a red flag.
Yeah, I think extremely different views could be. And if
Maybe
that is
on
something
anything
that is important to you, then you obviously couldn't match with someone if it's that important to them as well.
Totally.
Know? Like if that's a personal preference, that's a personal preference. You know, we've talked about this. Like,
right. Also rude to servers.
You can have your preferences.
Yes,
yeah,
you can have your preferences. But you cannot prefer to be rude to servers and have that be okay.
Yeah. That's 100% a red flag. That's like one of the biggest, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, there was one that came in too, and he said, lying. I had a date where someone was obviously lying about their career and education, and it wouldn't have mattered, but the deception bothered me.
I agree with that.
Red flag. Like,
super
red
weird.
Flag. I'm waving it. You know, like that's compulsive liar territory there.
Yes. I think that bragging is a one for me. If a guy is sitting there and trying to tell me about how cool his life is and how many, celebrities he's seen or how cool his job is, if it's beyond just telling me that he's passionate about what he does, it feels weird.
Yes. I think it's easy to decipher between passion and just like flaunting.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Totally.
Well,
I'm with that.
Any other final thoughts on first dates?
I don't think so. What's the best? Do you know the best first date you've had?
Okay, so this is tricky because once you've stopped dating someone, it is hard to put yourself back and be like, that was such a good first date, right?
Yeah. I honestly don't think I have an answer.
No, I don't think I do either. But I was going to ask you, like, for you, pandemic dating, do you feel like it's really, really changed how it goes?
So, to be honest, I think it's hard for me to give that answer because I really haven't been on like a bunch of dates.
No, you're not like dating a bunch of people.
Totally. And like I wasn't really that familiar with dating prior to like college was the last time I dated.
Oh,
and
okay.
I think I'll admit that college dating is different than dating in the real world, and I kind of think this is better.
Yes.
I think it's easier to meet people when you're around all the time, but this forces you to actually go out on a date.
It does.
You don't really know someone. You're not really interacting with them in a similar environment. You're not going to the same school. You're not going to the same parties. For the most part, at least. Like if you're trying to meet someone random, you actually have to plan a date, go out there and just meet someone. And I think there's excitement in that. And I'm enjoying being older and having to really commit to that. I think that's dope.
That makes me very happy. I was going to say for me, I have done a large handful at this point of like the FaceTime. Like trying to plan dates on FaceTime
which is I can't imagine doing that. I've not done that. That's weird to me.
It is circumstantial.
That's fair.
And it's like I want to be like, yeah, that it was so easy. Like the conversation was so easy on the first FaceTime. So I want to be like, that's a great first date. But I think I'd like to have a better first date than sitting on a phone and not actually being in person.
Too. I mean, if it was great, it was great.
It was great. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't think first dates matter as much as we think they do.
That's a good point, John.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Also, there's water rushing in my home. I don't know if you can hear that. It's in the walls. I don't know what's happening.
Is someone pooping?
No, they're doing construction upstairs.
Move-in roommate. Oh my God.
What?
I said move-in roommate.
My live-in boyfriend?
Yep, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Move-in roommate?
I don't even know where that came from. I was like confident in the way I said it too. I was like, move-in roommate. know.
Well,
Don't
to
know.
wrap up this whole, first date conversation, I want to bring us to another activity surrounding love.
Love it.
And because this weekend is Valentine's Day, and I will be at a wedding alone. So
Nice.
cool. But I want us to write our own conversation hearts. So if
love
we were
it.
making like the almost on air box of conversation hearts,
I'll make an image for that maybe.
there you go. These are what would be on them. Do you want to go first?
I would love to, because sometimes it's hard to find the words to communicate what you want to say, in
Mm-hmm.
relationships these days. So let's do the almost on air Valentine's Day conversation hearts.
Okay.
Oh, I had to restart it. Nice.
Saucy.
Set the mood.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Please don't
Welcome
raise
to the
your
almost
eyebrows
on
at
air
me.
Valentine's Day conversation hearts reveal.
There we go. Okay, what's your first one?
Okay, so going to my first heart here, and I'm just like trying to make these very current with the times, just
Yeah.
some things that may not apply to current hearts, but some things you might wish they would say. So where am I at here? There we go. So my first Valentine's Day heart this year is going to read, "Miss me with that." Now, you're
Miss
gonna
me
se-
with that?
Miss me with that. Now you can send this to someone who's trying to be a part of your life right now, but you just simply don't got time for it. Maybe it's someone that's like trying to slide into your DMs, or maybe just
miss
someone
me
that's
with that.
interested in you, but you're just not interested. Or maybe it's like someone from the past that's hitting you up this Valentine's Day, looking to still be part of your life, but you just ain't having it. So here's a Valentine's Day for Graham, a Valentine's Day Graham for them. Next time they shoot you that text, you can say, "Miss me with that."
I literally am not cool enough to know what miss me with that means.
Wait, really?
Really? But that's okay.
You never heard people be like, "Nah, I don't want any part of that. Miss me with that bullshit." No?
No, I'm way too old and
Nice.
and cringy. My first one is very simple. You know how there's the Valentine's hearts that say kiss me or hug me or whatever it is?
Totally.
Mine, which we were just talking about, just says FaceTime me.
FaceTime.
Because we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and
Facts.
if a guy is wanting to hang out or spend some time with you and it's just a little too soon and you don't know how his germs are, you can just give him the FaceTime me.
So applicable.
Yeah, it is.
I love it. The next featured Valentine's Day Graham that I have reads, "We should hypothetically perhaps make out potentially." Nice. So do you
Are
have
you
someone?
aware of the size of a conversation heart?
Oh yeah. No, this is why
Okay.
this one's gonna be a hit. This one's a
Okay.
hit. So maybe you have someone in your life that you think is like low key kind of fire. So like you want to make out with them on Valentine's Day, but like it's cool if not, like it doesn't have to. Like you don't want to be weird, but at the same time, it could also be very chill. So like why not? Maybe. I'm just saying it might potentially be a good idea to shoot your shot so you can send them a "we should hypothetically perhaps make out potentially" Valentine's Day heart.
I do love it. I would love to
Nice.
receive that.
Nice.
My next, Valentine's Day Graham. This is for like if you had a crush on someone that you work with, that you
Okay.
no longer see in person, and you only ever Zoom with them. And no, guys, this is not me confessing my love for
I
John.
knew
I
it.
promise.
I knew it.
It just says you're cute on Zoom, and it's just for that person that you used to get to see them. You used to maybe have a chance of making out with them, but this year you've only seen them on Zoom, and they still look cute in their little box.
And it's a compliment to look cute on Zoom.
It is. It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes you
really
gotta hear
hard to
it.
look cute on Zoom. So there you go. It's for it doesn't even have to be a coworker. Maybe just one of those people you've only seen at Zoom birthdays this year.
I
You're
love
cute
it.
on
Send
Zoom.
it over to him.
Great.
My third and final heart today says, "A kiss for the homies." Now, there's nothing wrong with showing the homies a little love this Valentine's Day. Whether it's a bro or maybe like a girlfriend, sometimes it's nice to have that one homie you can count on to open a beer or a bottle of wine with after a long day. You may not love them romantically, but you definitely love them platonically, and sometimes those lines might blur a little bit because they're just like one of your best mates, and you can't imagine a life without them. So don't leave the homies out this Valentine's Day, and show some love with a limited edition, "A Kiss for the Homies" Valentine's Day Graham from the Almost On Air podcast.
Wow, John, that was really well done. My next one is certainly not that great, but that's okay.
I'm in a commercial right now.
You are feeling it. You are
I'm
wearing
feeling
like
it.
satin pajamas,
A robe
and you're
somehow.
laying in a bed of roses, and you're
Dude.
reading these.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. My last one is pretty simple and really just sums up the last 11 months that we've been in this. Just says, be mine. Q-teen Bay. Be mine, Quarantine Bay. And it's just, how many people do we know have developed quarantine bays?
You know what? This is such a great point.
Yeah, a lot. At the
It's
early,
probably
at
the
the
most
start of the
applicable heart yet.
Yes. John and I used to joke so much about my quarantine bay. Like, we're talking last March. So felt right to bring it full circle. And
Yeah, and sometimes
Who
your
knows?
quarantine bays, no one you've even hooked up with or been on a date on or even know that each other exists, you know?
who's your quarantine bay then?
I mean, I didn't need one at the time, you know?
Oh,
And I'm
right.
just saying, I'm thinking back to your quarantine babes. And
I did not have
sometimes
any
a caller would
quarantine
call
bays
into
who
the
didn't
radio.
know I existed.
I mean, maybe not. I feel like it was the joke that everyone was your quarantine babe.
That
you
is
know?
true. Yeah, we would just, people would call into the radio show and
That's
we'd
what
be
I was
like,
gonna say.
that's Erica's new quarantine bay.
He doesn't know it,
So-
but like, he's got a hot voice.
Yeah. So,
It happens.
I'll be giving that almost on air Valentine's Day Graham Be Mine Quarantine Bay to someone this year.
Nice.
They can fight for their right.
Check your inboxes.
That's gonna do it for us today. We hope you guys have a very lovely Valentine's Day. Maybe some of you are going on. Oh my God, I've had a first date on Valentine's Day.
Nice. Okay.
Anyway, years ago, like 5 years ago. Maybe some of you are having first dates on Valentine's Day.
I hope so. I'm pulling for you.
John, where could they find us?
On our Instagram at Almost On Air and right here on whatever podcast app you're listening to, unless you're watching on YouTube, which we prefer for all the fun and all the action. And you can find us next week on the same platforms because we are just back and we're
We
not
sure
going
are.
anywhere.
No, we aren't. Except for right now. Okay,
Yeah,
bye.
later.